afternoon, Jules.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Firstly, congratulations.
Thank you.
You are having your second bub.
Sure
How are you
am.
feeling?
I've really treated this pregnancy a lot different to my first one. I had a COVID pregnancy last time.
Oh, gosh.
And I remember towards the end, like, I wasn't even walking, I was sliding.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of different exterior noises in my life at that point.
Yeah.
And I explain it in the way that I didn't have those tools around me to deal with that noise. And this
Right.
time I'm like, 4
Yeah.
years on, I know how to deal with any extra noise on the
Yeah.
outside. And also I wanted to have a really strong pregnancy, and I've been seeing
Yeah.
a personal trainer the whole time, and I feel great.
Was it easy getting pregnant the second time?
No.
Yeah.
So where that's probably
Yes,
come from
that's
is
where
that
it came from.
I've been very open to say that I would have gone into 2024 going, you know what,
Into IVF,
IVF
yeah.
time,
Yeah.
because I'm a realist, but I'm really positive, and I never gave up faith that my body
Yeah.
could do it again. I really did. I only
Yeah.
had probably one little moment where I was like, oh, and I had, I had to really reframe my mindset and, but no, you've got this, just keep trying.
Yeah.
And it's, but yeah, those 2 years were difficult. Every month you get your period and you're like, oh, just come on, happen. But I know what you mean. When I first
Yeah.
got pregnant, even the doctor, because I was explaining what, from the get-go, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a different pregnancy than the last time. It's
Right.
like live and learn. And I wanted to just feel strong. And I've
Yeah.
just done my utmost, and I'm super proud of myself. And I've got to say, the first trimester was a bit hard
it's
because you
awful.
feel like shit,
Yeah.
and it's hard to get up. But then by the time I got to the second trimester, I had more energy, and that's
Yeah.
because of what I was investing in myself. And it's sorry, off my baby brain.
I know.
was like,
Oh
what
my
was I
gosh,
getting
baby
to?
brain is. Have you done anything weird with baby brain? Because I put my phone in the fridge and I invited people to the wrong house and I left my car running. Like all this crazy shit that I did when I was like pregnant. Have you had any?
It just
weird?
sounds like my life.
You're
to
like,
be fair.
this is normal. That's
This is
me
normal.
not pregnant.
And then you start looking in the weirdest places, like the microwave, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, I'm losing
Did
my
I put
mind.
the phone in the microwave? But have you done anything weird?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Don't think so.
That's good.
Yeah.
I used to forget things and I used to feel like such a dumb butt. Like dumbass.
Oh, I remember what
you
we're
know
talking
I
about
mean?
now. My baby brain's about feeling scared. Like the doctor, I said, look, I want to exercise, and then I was telling her what I was doing. She's like, oh, I wouldn't really jump around.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of that episode of Sex and the City where Charlotte stops running because she was so scared.
Oh, that's true.
And anyway, I found my groove, but I did have those feelings of like, oh, I just want to make sure everything's
Yeah.
okay.
Did you go through mental health issues or feelings? It's 2 years of you saying trying to get pregnant, and like every time that negative comes up, it has to affect your mental health, right? I mean, and how do you navigate feeling like, did you feel like, is something wrong with me? Like, what am I doing wrong? Or are you the type of person who just is focusing on the positive and focusing on the manifestation of something beautiful?
Yeah, like I know what I was doing wrong. I mean, the moment that I had that, like the
Yeah.
mind of going, oh, being negative was I've been saving clothes for baby two. And I have
Right.
a circle life with my girlfriends, and we pass it down to the
Yeah.
one who's got a younger kid. And I was putting some things away. I was like, I want to keep that for my next baby.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that. Oh my God, you should see this collection of clothes, like
You're like, there
airbag
better be
tight.
a baby because
Yes.
we have so much stuff.
Exactly. And I had this little in my brain went, am I doing this for nothing? This is just
Right.
a waste of space and time. And I was like, oh God, who's that talking to me?
Right.
So that was the first time that I was like, oh, it's just for nothing. But to stay positive, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's really not. And also being realistic, I'm 42 years old.
Yeah.
And as I said, I just had to keep on believing that it was going to happen and be a realist and go, well, if it's not, we try to do something else.
Yeah, and people aren't like, the doctor said to me, I was a geriatric pregnancy. I got pregnant, one at 29. So, 29 and then 34. I have baby brain and I'm not even pregnant. And
You can use it forever, babe.
Yeah, you
Don't
can
worry.
just, I'll just be like, I could be pregnant. There's still time. 34. And he was like, yeah, so by the time you give birth, you'll be a geriatric.
Yeah.
I really think we should get rid of that term.
Totally.
Like, we're done.
But I have to say, like, I did my announcement in Stella magazine, and on that day that it came out, I was on the beach, and this woman came up to me, and she said, I just want to say thank you for sharing your story today. I listened to the podcast, I read your interview, and I'm 38, and just the way that she was conditioned to be like, I'm 38, it's going to come with a fight. And she went, you're so inspiring of your
Yeah.
age and how you look at it. And I was like, as women and as society, we need to stop telling women that when you're 38, it's game over. And that I went into my first pregnancy with so much fear because
Oh my
I stupidly
gosh.
had the test done. I was told that I had no egg count. I got pregnant within 2 months with my husband.
Yeah.
And I know everyone's different. Like, please, I know if anyone's out there struggling, like, my heart goes out to you because I understand. but we do need to stop with like, oh, you're old, it's not going to happen.
There's no hope.
There's no hope. You have to go straight to IVF. Like,
I agree.
Just, you know, I know it's a bit, you know, people think it's woo-woo, and I know there's science.
Oh my God, I love woo-woo. Let's talk woo-woo.
Yeah, let's talk woo-woo.
Let's talk all the woo-woos.
I just really, as I said, I think that society, we need to stop with that and telling women what they can and can't do with their bodies.
Yeah, and I think also the realisticness of it is that, yes, it does get harder. Of course it does. After you get to a certain age, your eggs are viable, but they're not as many, and some of them have been damaged. So having that like realisticness, yes, let's say that, but then don't take away the hope.
Yeah.
Don't take away the hope that people can't conceive naturally. And like, again, in America, they say if you don't conceive, I think it's 6 months that you should do IVF.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't afford that, and then you lose that hope. And I the big believer in the woo-woo side of me is, if you're already putting a stop on the fact that you don't think you're going to get pregnant, how is the universe, or like babies, where do they come from, right? Like now having an existential dog, you're not like inviting that into your life. You're not inviting a being into your world, because it's so crazy, right? It's like,
well, I can look back and go, you know, and I'm a believer of like, if there's a hold up in life, say thank you, you know. And when I now look back and put the dots together, I'm like, this came at the right time for me. Last year I was living in the UK, launching Figure, one of my businesses, my shapewear brand, and we were trying then, but I'm like, it would have been such a different experience if I was pregnant, and when I came back it happened. But also I really had to step into my calm. Like, my body has been on fire for 5 years. I have worked my booty off. I've been fight or flight, adrenaline. I had to tune into meditation, Ayurvedic medicine, to really tune into being calm and to chill the fuck out, basically, because my body's like, you're on fire. I'm not putting a child in you. No way.
Exactly.
So I honestly believe that that really helped me too. And I stopped doing adrenaline, and I, you know, meditating every day, did a meditation course. And that's been and I've continued that, and I believe it's really keeping me calm, and hopefully that goes into my baby and they're calm too.
Yes. My second baby, I was seeing like a health special, like she worked in functional medicine. I was taking so many vitamins. I remember going, how much money am I spending on all these vitamins? But she was the calmest baby. She would sleep. You know, when people say, oh, my baby slept like at 6 weeks, I was like, I fucking hate you people.
Yeah.
Because I was like, my first didn't sleep for a year. Like, I swear. And the second one came out and she was sleeping at 6 weeks. And I honestly think it was because, yes, I was afraid that something could happen, but I was also really taking care of myself. And I think what you think also is woo-woo, but it goes into your kid.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're having like self-doubt and fear and like stress all
Absolutely.
the time, you're making a human being.
Yeah.
You know, and it goes into your child.
Yep. I agree. Absolutely agree with you.
So you have your shapewear brand Figure, which is just the best. And I was talking to Larry Emder about this.
What about Figure?
Yeah, not about Figure, about my figure. He was talking about my figure. No, about the fact that I was like an overweight teen, and he asked me if he thought that me losing weight had anything to do with me being cast on Home and Away, because I was overweight as a young girl, lost the weight, and then got on Home and Away, and I said it wouldn't now, but back then. Absolutely. I think in the 90s, it was very different there was no appreciation of your body. It was all about look a certain way, look almost anorexic, and that's what we're going to celebrate. We don't celebrate bodies. Now,
I mean, that generation just ignited a generation of women
right?
who never thought they'd make it in the world unless they were thin. And I was part of that generation. And that took a lot of work on myself to go, I am who I am, and I'm curvy, and I'm never going to be that. And I'm so... Today, you know, we've evolved so much in that there is beauty at every size. And Figure to me has been, you know, I'm really proud of it. And what it is, you know, I mean, look at International Women's Day this year, Inspire Inclusion. I'm like, been doing that for years.
Yeah.
So like, this is what I'm about. Everything that I stand for. I even got a little tattoo. I spent too long in Bali and I ended up with a tattoo. Never had a tattoo in my life. I know. I was like, been here too long. I've come back
before. I drank
a
few drinks and I got a tattoo on my stomach somewhere. I don't even know what it says, to be honest.
But this little thing here, this circle with all the dots inside, represents all women inside of it as inclusion. You know, so I feel it to the bone of what everything I do is for all women to feel seen and heard and represented. And Figure for me is that, you know, it's about working what you got, feeling great no matter what size you are, and being like, you know what, I'm okay with this. And you know what, I love showing off my curves and accentuating my shape, and Figure is a great tool to do that.
But how did you get out of that? Maybe you didn't have it, but I don't know if I love my body. And that's really sad to say that. Someone said, like, I'm working, my North Star with my therapist is just to even love myself.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because of those messages and obviously being like a young kid on a TV show, you're told that you're not good enough unless you're this, right?
Yes.
And then you're just supposed to grow up and go, oh, great, now I love myself. Now I love my body. Now I love all these stretch marks that I have from having kids. I don't look at my tummy, I'm being honest with you, and go, wow, that created life. I go, fuck, there's stretch marks.
Yes.
And I think a lot of women feel like that. And I
Yeah.
don't know, like, how to just love it.
Well, I think there's, toxic positivity, body positivity is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're meant to look at ourselves and love every single aspect of it. I know I personally don't look at every single part of my body and go, oh, I love that. Like that's, I wouldn't change a thing. But it's about accepting it for where you are. And I think, one rule I live by in my life is that when you look back at a photo of yourself in 10 years and you go, fuck, I look smoking.
Always.
You're going to do that. And in that time, when you remember when you were younger, how your mindset felt about yourself, there was nothing wrong with your body. There was something wrong with your mind.
Yeah,
and that's what
of
you need
course.
to remember at every stage of your life, especially as a woman, that just appreciate where you are. And that, there's nothing wrong. I've been an ambassador for Jenny Craig before. I put on 20 kilos in my last pregnancy and I was like, there's no shame. And I didn't actually get too trolled, to be honest, because I was very honest and went, I want to get back into my pre-pregnancy wardrobe.
it's okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. But I would never change the way that I dressed, or I didn't feel shit about myself.
Yeah.
And no matter where you are or making health journeys, it's about accepting yourself where you are and not letting it define your happiness or your purpose or your potential, your body. And I think that's what's really important.
But do you think the world is, well, let's just not talk about all the world, but like places like America, Australia, Europe, do you feel like they are accepting of this love all aspects of yourself and all bodies? Because I still see blasted images of people like, everyone look, I don't even know if the film business does. Like, are we really there yet? Like, we say we are, but like, are we really there?
I personally hate, especially as a pregnant woman, I hate it when I see advertising and of like a size 8 model and they've put a baby bump on her, like a fake one, to do fashion. That gets my back up.
Yeah.
And like, your body changes so much when you're pregnant. Like okay, not everyone, but some people do.
Some people just pop out a baby.
Yeah, or they're size 6 and they look exactly the same.
Right.
But most of us don't. And I just think it's such as a pregnant woman looking on in that, a lot of women would feel a bit shit by seeing something that makes them go, well, I don't look like that. Yeah. Like, show representation of real women in that stage of life.
But I really want to talk about your business because you're like a business badass biatch. Can we call you that? Yeah. Have you ever been called a business badass biatch?
So, not like that. But yeah.
So for people who want to like have a business and actually grow a business, like how do you even start? Like with you, like how did it even begin? Like where was the genesis of it to where it is now?
I've always been quite entrepreneurial. My parents would tell you if I ever wanted something, I'd go out and wash cars or do whatever I can to get money to get what I wanted. And I've always had that drive in me. I left school very young when I was 15, always wanted to be a hair and makeup artist. I've got photos of me painting my mum's face from the age of 3. Like I just loved that world. And she used to be an Avon lady actually, and the knock and like Avon calling, and I think I just remember the smell of the makeup was just glamour to me. Like I just thought it was so glamorous. And so as soon as I left school, when I was old enough, I got apprenticeship doing hair, makeup, went to London, worked for Harrods, worked for Selfridges, ended up working for myself for a Royal Warrant establishment, True Fit and Heal. So I've always had an amazing career in that aspect. And after going on maths and wearing shapewear for 3 months while filming, I was just so bloody uncomfortable for 3 months. And dinner parties, like I'd literally have everything off on the floor. Yeah. My dress, everything, the shapewear, and I'd be holding this microphone pack so it didn't fall down the toilet.
Right.
And they'd be like, come on, get back on set. And I'd be like, sorry, I'm just naked, trying to sort my life out in here. End up with like more rolls in a bakery because this thing had rolled all the way down and it'd roll up. And I was just so uncomfortable. And then when I came off the show, like never did I go in there to change my life by any means. I went on there because I looked the whole world, babe. I looked the whole world for this man.
And you just could not
and
find
I was like,
it.
you know what, this is the last hurrah. It's just a really extreme date for me. So when I came off, the rapport that I had with so many women was just so beautiful that reaching out to say, I see myself in you. I love your curves. I wish I could dress like you. I wish I had your confidence. I've got a body just like yours and I want to dress like you.
Right.
But then the flip side, the dark side was being trolled for being a curvy woman and being body shamed. So, honestly, it was just like this light bulb of like, I'm going to make the best shapewear in the world. that doesn't roll down, that you can go to the toilet in, but with that branding message of exactly what I've said, just sexy isn't a size, it's a mindset, and to work that. And if I hadn't gone through that pain of just all that nastiness, I don't think I would have really established the brand of what it is. And, you know, there's this amazing saying that your product is the body and your brand is the soul. And I'm so grateful that women believe in the soul of figure and what I've created, which is, you know, for all women, no matter what age or size you are, we can all feel fabulous. Yeah. So it's been great. And obviously I've made an incredible products now that have won lots of awards and taken it to the UK, and I've got all these women flying the flag over there. And for me, it was just, I believed in it. Like, I've spent every cent I had into that. Like,
you're like, if this doesn't work, we're fucked.
Oh, babe, I was fucked. It was COVID hit. I was pregnant, and I was
no one's making money during COVID.
Oh, I just launched, and 2 weeks later, COVID hit, and I was like, every cent I had, which was, you know, for my mortgage, for my first house, was put into this, and I was like on the floor, literally crying for the world. Bojo in England had just got COVID, and I was Tom Hanks, and I was like, shit, this is like a horror film. It's real. Yeah. And I remember just crying, like, for myself, for the world, just thinking, oh my God.
No one's going to wear my shapewear because
no one's going out.
Yeah, no one's leaving. We're never getting out of this house.
And so that was a really scary time.
That was a bad time to launch, probably. Well, not that you didn't know, but like just because no one is going out.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, no one's leaving.
To be fair, it did really well considering it was his first year of business. And in that time, I really cemented the core of Figure, which is women supporting each other, because I thought, you can't focus on what I'm not doing, which is making money. I can only focus on what I can do and it's to help. Right. So # we will figure it out. And I got loads of brands to give me little things that they could. And I did call outs to other women to support other women who have really been hit with the COVID stick. And so we gifted them, and then whatever money I did make, I took a little bit to get Woolworths vouchers and gift cards, and it really supported that. It became that women supporting each other. So it was a really special time in the end of cementing the brand and what it is.
Yeah, and so women supporting women, I have this conversation with a friend of mine. It worked for you, which is incredible. And I think that when I go on your social media, I realize that like people just adore you, and they'll kind of like, they'll buy the book, and because we're all talking about it, they feel seen, they feel less alone. But I think it's hard. I don't know if in general all women support women sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
And I feel like it's because maybe we feel like if a woman takes something or like gets a job or makes a brand or it takes away from us because there's not that many positions for us, right? There's not many women who like are in gatekeeper positions who are like, yes, let more women come and be successful. So sometimes I think women supporting women is great and it's worked for you, but I don't know necessarily if women all support us.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I am a big believer in supporting other women. Like, because I have this ethos of like, if you have no hate and jealousy in your heart, you've got no space to judge anyone else,
right?
And be that woman, you know. And that's part of Figures. Like, I put a lot of myself into Figure, and the brand underlining messages is that when you feel fucking great about yourself, you got no need to judge someone else and be like, oh, they're this, that.
They're crap.
And when you put out that energy, you attract it back. And trust me, like, I have times where I feel a bit sad because I give a lot of myself to support other people's businesses, and I do things always just to support, not a collab. Like, I do it because I want to support.
Yeah.
And, you know, I sometimes give out things to people and they've asked and they don't share. And you get a bit like, come on, there's enough space for everyone. Right. Like, help, support each other. Yeah. But you just always got to go, like I said, I'm human. Don't worry. Sometimes I go like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, motherfucker.
You also have to go stay in your lane because you know what? The good people that are going to support you, they're always going to rise up and be there for you. And I believe that. And I know that the circle of karma and me really being that has come back to me tenfold.
And I'm such a big believer in manifestation. Putting good, like attracts like and the law of attraction. And if you're not putting good energy and you're not supporting other people, it's never going to come back to you.
Yeah.
Do you remember in your business when there was a moment where you were just like, it was already up and running, but you're like, oof, this was tough, and you had to pivot? I know COVID obviously everyone had to pivot, but or has it been more of has it been an easier ride for you? No. You're like, honey, I have some stories.
Absolutely not. Like, going to the UK and launching there, Jesus, like, just mistakes made, money like hemorrhaged. it was tough, you know, it was really tough, and it becomes a long time, especially when you're not there on the ground doing something, to become a trusted known brand when you're not there. UK's been hard. UK's been really hard.
Yeah.
And I believe that we're going to do it,
Yeah.
but it's not happened yet, and it's been hard. And having to swallow my ego to go, oh, I really made a mistake there. I need to fix that. Like, example, got there, literally picked up the business model here and did it there.
Yeah.
And then I'm walking around this office thinking I'm bloody Anne Hathaway and the intern. And then I'm like, holy shit, I can't actually afford this. And I had to very quickly go, all right, swallow your ego. Let's fix this. And I had to then get out of my lease, legal, annoying. But even though it cost me a lot of money, I know in the long term I saved myself about 40 grand by going into a 3PL, because it's just different structure there. And I just didn't use my brain.
What do you feel like being a mom and a working mom? Because it really, I always have this guilt of like when I'm working, like right now, I'm like, oh God, I'm such a shit mom. And then when I'm with my kids, I'm like, oh my God, I should be working. It's better now that like one's 10 and one's 5. Like I've been doing this for 10 years now, but it's still not easy. Like I have that mom guilt all the time, and it doesn't just go away. Like I just always feel like they need me and I'm not there.
Yeah. It's interesting, the mummy guilt thing. I struggled a little bit at the beginning, and I struggled with exterior noise as well, and I know that that's because it was flickering in me about how I was actually feeling about myself in that situation of being a mum, being a working mum. And, you know, just I always explain it in the sense that if someone, you know, trolls me about my body or how I look, I'm like, whatever, I'm fabulous. You know, it rolls off me. But when it comes to my family, like I literally am a lioness. And when it comes to how I parent as well, it doesn't bother me anymore. And that's because I've worked out in my head how I go about it. And I actually saw like a life coach about it. And so what I do now is that on a Friday, it was my time with my son. And sometimes, you know, it's a full day. Sometimes it's a half day. What I can do, plan it 4 weeks in advance. And I go, you know, that day we're going to go to the zoo, or we're going to do this on the aquarium, that we can, it's not set in stone. So it's like, it's not a permanent thing that I can move it around and change it, but it's my time with him that unless the world's fallen apart, that's my time. And that's me giving what I can to him in there. And I don't feel so bad about it, because it works well for us. And I'm so, you know, fortunate that I have a partner that we co-parent we share the load with each other. And I don't think I could be married to someone who didn't do that with me.
Oh man, I couldn't. I mean, when I see on TikTok, sometimes I fall into some kind of algorithm vortex, and it's just like about these women who just like, the men come home from work and the women just like clean and cook and.
Well, it's interesting because it's like, okay, if you're empowering women to go out to work, but then you're not empowering men to work in the home as well, then you're just exploiting women. You're not actually empowering them at all, because that's where you get the burnout, because you're trying to do too much.
Everything.
And I couldn't do what I do without a supporting husband who does it for me. And there was a point in life where, you know, my husband, he loves to overshare. We love that about him.
Good.
And because
we need to have him on the show then.
He loves to overshare. And I mean, not in a bad way, but he loves to share things with our son. And I, at one point, would be on the receiving end of, you know, people like, oh, where's your wife in all this? Like, you know, she's wanted kids and now she's not there, and why you're with him. And people still think it's, you know, BC and we should be attached to our child because we gave birth. Right. And at one point I got really upset. And as I said, because it was flickering that thing of me of like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing?
Something that itches you, right?
Yeah. And I ended up, you know, saying to Cam, you know, like, it comes back on me because people are dickheads, you know, like.
Yeah, it would never come back on him. Like if he was gone all the time working.
You know, people like, or, you know, would anyone ever message him and say, where are you? Like just because I'm a woman.
Never.
So, but I ended up working through it in my own head. And then I was just like, no, you go be that guy. You be that modern day man, and you show how hands-on you are. And so I was like, no, this is a great thing. And I could not be the person I am without him supporting me the way that he does. And you know what, at the end of the day, I'm doing it to create an amazing life for my children and my husband.
Yeah, and it's a partnership. Like I don't understand marriages that go in as like, yes, we do also, like I don't take the trash out. Sorry, bins.
I don't either, actually. It's a bit sexist, but I have this like pink jobs and blue jobs.
Yeah. I'm like, the trash is not my job. You know what I mean? Neither is like, listen, I'm just not it's not that I hate vomit, but like, I'm just not a good cleanup vomiter. Like, I don't vomit a lot, but my kids do. My eldest once vomited on my youngest one's head. And I remember she was, it was the funniest.
I got all this to look forward to, right?
I know. I was laughing so hard. And the youngest one was like, why did this happen to me? She literally vomited on her head from the bunk bed. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that job. You know what I mean? But I do other things. Like I love to vacuum. I'm just like I just love to vacuum.
It's instant gratification.
I love
that's
to vacuum.
why.
And I love to clean floors. I don't know if everyone's turning off the podcast going, this is so boring. But like I love to clean floors, like to get that dirt off the floors. But like I don't love to unpack the dishwasher. So you got to figure out. It's like a team thing, right?
So as I said, like I know it's very old school and very like
Yes.
sexist, but you know when they didn't know what baby you were having back in the day, like in the 50s, they'd buy
Right.
yellow. So you have pink
that's
jobs,
right.
pink jobs, blue jobs, and yellow. So yellow is like your kind of combo of you can
You can
both do it.
I could do the
So
dishwasher.
in our household, we have very defined pink and blue
Yes.
jobs, and it works well for
What
us.
are the blue jobs? What are the pink jobs?
Oh, like the dishes. Oh, sorry, the dishwasher. But I just do it really badly, so he always does it.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I always put it in badly, like kind of on purpose. So I'm like, I
That-
don't know what I'm doing.
The garbage, he always does that.
Yeah.
If Ollie poos in the bath, he does that.
Yeah, the poo and the shit and the bin and the vomit.
But actually, one of
Poor
our
guys.
first times that Ollie ever swore, I was like, I can't believe it wasn't his first word, to be fair.
Yeah.
But, you know, when they just do this, like, it's just everywhere. And you're like, how did that happen? Like, it's up his back. It's like
Oh my God,
crazy.
I know.
And so we were like, this is like a two-man job. So we had him in
Yeah.
the bathroom. And I just put my hands up and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then Ollie puts his hands up and he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
and then Cam
Oh
and
my
I like had that,
God.
you know, look at each other in the eye and go, don't laugh because he's going to know that we're
Yeah,
laughing at
we
him.
like
and it
it.
was so hard, but it was very, very funny. Like
my
the
God.
things you do as parents.
My
Hey?
first kid's swear word was I'll swear on that, but I don't swear around them. But I try not to. I swear with my husband or like on a podcast or things like that. But I try not to.
I
Swear
know,
on my
absolutely
kids.
try, but sometimes like, you
It
know,
just comes
you're in
out.
another
It
room
comes
and you're
out.
on the phone.
So, but I always swear in the car, right?
Yeah.
Because when someone cuts me off, I'm like, you motherfucker! And so my daughter my 10-year-old was like maybe 5 at the time. And I'm driving and this guy cuts me off and she goes, you motherfucker! And I was like, I didn't know in that moment if like I was the best parent or just the worst parent in the world and she's going to be a stripper when she gets older. No, I was just like, oh my God. But yeah, these moments define, like when you're in the shit, so to speak, it just defines who you are. You're like, do I run away from this or do I like lean into it with my partner?
Oh, I mean, they're literally, the reason you keep your shit together, but they're also the reason you lose your shit as well.
I know. And it's just, but they're the loves of your life. I did read, I hope this is true, but because I had postpartum depression after my first baby. It was actually really bad. I ended up on medication. I don't take medication now, but I just couldn't get out of bed. You said that you also suffered postpartum.
No.
No.
I had,
Who's posting
Who's
this
giving you
shit
my facts, babe?
online? It was like, Jules talks about postpartum depression.
No, it would have been PMDD.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Which is a version of postpartum depression.
No. So premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So PMDD stands for, it's a
Gotcha.
very intense, different, it's like PMS, but a completely different scale.
Yeah, see,
where-
I consider that as depression, but yes, keep going. Yeah. Meaning
Yeah.
like, I know it's called something else, but my depression comes in that form.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are the symptoms?
So I've always struggled with my periods. The day I met Cam, when I married him, I married at first sight. Getting to know each other. And I said, look, put me under the stairs once a month because I'm a handful. You know, made a joke out of it, put light on it because I've always been like that. Just really emotional and struggled around that time. And then after I had Ollie and I stopped breastfeeding and my periods come back, it was just like, oh wow. Like, and I was in tears and we thought it was postnatal depression, and then went to the doctors and they were like, you know, just write it out. Like, it could be postnatal, but let's just see how you go.
Yeah.
And then each month it just got worse, and another trip to the doctors. And then the third time I was like, I'm not okay. Like, and I know myself, I'm very in tune with myself. And I knew that I had it because I'd done research, and it was just great to just don't feel crazy. For me personally, a real Jekyll and Hyde of, you know, I grab life by the horns, I'm a go-getter. And then all of a sudden I'm just in this depth of despair where I just can't feel like I can't go on. And then, you know what, then it magically goes away, and it's just this pattern. So it's been hard. It's been really tough, and it took me, 12 months to talk about it publicly, and I did that to create awareness, and it really did, and I'm happy about that. And me being me now, I feel like this sense of responsibility to help, because a lot of women came to me going like, I feel like I have that. And also the part and parcel of being a woman having your period, everyone's like, well, everyone gets them. It's like, well, not everyone feels the same. So for me, I've really had to honor that time. I've decided to not do the antidepressant, which was to take it on day 14 of your period, and then, which will help that chemical imbalance in your brain. But I've gone down the Ayurvedic medicine route, which has really helped me. And the blessing of being pregnant now is not getting my periods, but it's the ticking bomb. It's going to come back eventually. Yeah. But I'm doing so much groundwork on myself mentally and physically, like the physical aspect of it's, that inner pharmacy of that being active and doing meditation, that I'm really trying to do it holistically, that I'll be in a better space to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I can, I don't know what the future's going to hold, but I'm feeling good about where I'm at physically and mentally to cope with it a little bit better.
I think you'll be great. I had an epiphany sitting here, so this is the reason maybe you're here. But I've had so many mental health therapists say, you have anxiety, you have depression, you have postpartum depression. But I actually only have that, for me, day 5 to day 10. So I actually, after my period, from day 5 to day 10, something goes on in my brain where I hate everyone. I hate my husband. I'm aggressive.
Yeah.
I hate myself. I feel lost. And then day 11, when my progesterone levels rise and my estrogen lowers and my testosterone raises, which I am in right now, thank God for Dell and the podcast team, I feel like I can function. I feel like I can analyze things better. I'm happy.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So many times people say, well, this is what you have, but I don't have it the whole month.
Yeah. I read this really, because I was just reading about hormones and things. It was just this random quote, but it really stuck with me. It's like, you take control of your life when you know how to control your hormones. And as a woman, I really, and what I've gone through, I absolutely agree with that. Like for me, I mean, I know we met each other in 2 seconds, but I'm generally, I'm a positive go-getter.
Right.
And then I just go into this like, oh my God, who is she?
Yeah.
And even having my husband, who is the most compassionate, sensitive, like emotional IQ to the stratosphere, he was like, oh my God, like, who are you?
Yeah.
And to listen, to go, I'm not okay, honey. Like, because I'm always like, I'm up and about.
Right.
So it's interesting. And I think that for me personally, like, absolutely antidepressants work for some people, but I just wanted to go down the natural route of the Ayurvedic, because Ayurvedic medicine has proven that the natural way that it's almost like a preventative. So if you can take these things to prevent things happening in the future, then that's what you do. And I really did notice the difference from seeing a specialist and going down that way. So I will pick it up again when the time's right.
And do you eat and live according to, because I do to some extent, live according to your cycle?
I mean, sometimes you got to fake it till you make
yeah,
it, right?
I agree. But like,
Yeah.
I had something canceled next week and I was like, thank God, I'm like close to my period.
But and that's the thing. But also, revolving your diary around something like that that's not normal. It's not normal to have to do that. But I've also learned to honor that time too and go, you know what? I feel like shit today and I'm just going to sit in this and I know it's going to be all right. But I'm fortunate that I'm in a position where I can do that, and someone who has the 9 to 5, that'd be really hard, you know? And I think we are evolving so much, society, with women with menopause. Like, look how much that's spoken about now. Like, we go through so much hormonally. Perimenopause, menopause. I saw this amazing thing online. It was called like the like a flash dance, but it was the flush dance. And there was all these women like with the fans. And I was
oh
like,
my God,
brilliant.
I get hot now too. I'm like, I don't know if this is just ovulation, is a period, is a perimenopause, I don't know.
So no, I think, we do go through a lot and everyone's very different. And there's a space where work needs to be done in that for women suffering with PMDD. And, I had women reach out who, one woman, her sister died of suicide and it was from the back of PMDD. And she's like, I wish we took it seriously.
Yeah.
I wish that my partner would understand, or my mom just doesn't listen to me because of, that woman gets their period. So yeah, it's a sensitive subject, but I just hope that everything I'm doing on myself now and working on myself, I'll be in a better place when it comes back.
Before we go, we've got a couple of things. I want to ask you, like, what is your biggest fear in your, like, in life, like, moving forward? Do you fear the future, or do you just take it by the balls and do you ever have apprehension?
I think I take it by the balls, to be honest.
Take all the balls.
Yeah, take all the balls.
Yeah.
No, trust me, everyone has their days where you're like, oh God, what am I doing? And I don't have everything, there's the glass balls and the plastic ones. And trust me, like, I try not to drop the glass ones, which is obviously my family. But, it can be challenging. But no, I'm pretty just go for it. That's, with everything I do.
Are you afraid of like things like sharks or planes? Are you a good flyer?
Yeah.
You're a good flyer?
Yeah.
So you don't have control issues then, maybe?
No, I don't think so.
That's amazing.
I'm very much like, do something once. If you don't like it, don't do it again.
Yeah, like, but you don't feel like you're in the driver's seat, meaning you can control the things that you can control, but you're okay to let go of the things that you can't. Like, if you're on an airplane, you can't fly the plane. right? So you're okay to let go of that control.
I really learnt the meaning of that when I first had Ollie, because I was so used to having like an immaculate house and everything was clean. And I remember Cam came in one day and I was like sitting there crying, like going, oh, just like, because in my head I'm like, okay, I'll feed him, I'll put him to sleep, and I'll get up and I'll sort out everything. And then I'd do it and I'd sit there and go, oh God, I just need to sit here. And because I'm such a doer, I had to like really go, you know what? The world will still spin if I live in a dumpster. And I've got really good at that now. Yeah. Like the world still spins when there's shit everywhere. And actually your kids love playing in it, to be fair.
I know. My husband's the kind of person who like cleans up the mess while the mess is happening. Is that your, is that Cam? Does Cam do that? Or you both like
God,
let
I
it
wish
go?
he did.
Is like your house really clean or is it not clean?
My house could be on fire and my husband wouldn't even notice.
Really? My husband like throws away the coffee while I'm drinking it.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I'm like, no. I always say to people, like I said this on another podcast, that my house is like a showroom. It's like no one lives there. It's not because of me. Like I wouldn't, clean it or do it. Like he just loves to clean.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I used to hate it in the beginning, but then I thought, you know what?
I'll have him.
Yeah. But your house is clean, right?
Oh, sometimes, which I'm saying, but I had to let go of that perfection and go, things are still going to get done, but maybe just not as fast.
Yeah. So maybe that's the key to happiness is let go of control.
Less expectation of myself as well.
Less expectations. Do what you can and let go of the things that you like that you can't. What else did we talk about today? Let your kids swear. Let your kids
it's only happened once, everyone.
So
I'm a good
mum. Would you care if they sweared? Probably not.
I think that it's really funny. It's like it's cute up to an age and then it's just a bit bogan.
Yeah. When they're like 14 and they're like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, but when they're like 2, it's quite cute.
Yeah. Like, fuck. What else did we learn? We learned how to pivot. And to fight for what you believe. And I also think throughout these podcasts that I've been having, I realize that happy people create good, law of attraction makes wonderful things happen to people when they focus on the gratitude and the joy of sort of the journey of it all. Good things happen, and they're not trying to control the outcome.
Yeah.
And I think,
I think there's a section in Ask Jules actually like on gratitude, and in my household we have a little jar that I got from Kmart, and I put all these little stickers on it from Kmart. Yeah. And it sits on the kitchen bench, and we have the post-it notes and moments of gratitude. You just write in it and pop it in the jar. And every year at Christmas or New Year's, we sit down and Cam and I, we read them out to each other. Oh. And it's a really lovely way to remember the last 12 months of those moments of like, they could just be anything. Oh, but sometimes they're really deep and they're really beautiful. And we want to bring that into our life with our children, that they're doing it all the time. And at Christmas, or, around that time, it becomes about that and not about how many presents are we going to get? Right. And those little moments of just every day, and because it's sitting there, you have to reflect and be like, oh, I'm just going to put something in the jar. And that's just a really simple way.
I'm going to take that on.
Yeah.
Do you have the shitty moment jar too?
Yeah, exactly.
The shit show moment. I'm going to have 2 jars. I'm going to have the shit show, bad things that happen, and then the gratitude one.
Yeah.
Before we let you leave, I'm going to ask you one question. What is your biggest shit show moment that has happened in your life? It can be a deep shit show moment, or it can be something just as, like the poop up the back.
Yeah. Oh, God. This is the biggest shit show moment. Oh, God, there's plenty of shit show moments.
You're like, this podcast.
I know.
Yeah. This was my biggest shit show.
Oh, I mean, as I said before, like when with the business and COVID, like that was a bit of a shit show moment. But I mean, there's been lots of shit show moments in life. Like not that long ago, I broke my arm and I couldn't even change my son's nappy. And and I have a dressing room. I'm very fortunate that my husband let me make a whole room into a dressing room. And, when you're coming and going in life, and you get home and you come and you go, and like it was a tornado. Like literally my room was a tornado. And then I broke my arm. And I remember, I fell over. I just fell over.
Just fell.
Very elegantly, but stacked it.
I would have said it was something else. I would have like made up a big story. You just fell. That's it.
No, I wish I was. I wish I was drunk. I mean, I had like 2 drinks. I wasn't drunk.
Yeah.
And I like, what are they called? Like the metal bits, like everything. Like it was a proper snap. Anyway, so I couldn't even change like Ollie, and I shared it on my baby page, Baby Cub and Lady Lumps, and I'm literally sitting in this dumpster of a dressing right there. Yeah. You couldn't even see the floor. Yeah. Ollie's having the best time. He's throwing everything around. Yeah. And I'm there with my broken arm, and I just remember I had a pity party. Like I had a big pity party, and I remember crying, and then I had to go in and get scanned again and then get operated. And, we went back. They're like, let's just see if we have to operate or not. So I did like 3 weeks and then went back to the beginning. And I just was, when you just like, FML, like, it was just shit, and I remember sitting there, but it was another good slap in the face of, you know what, the world's still going to spin, and
I
my kid
know.
loves jumping around and this stuff. That was a tough time, you know, because he was so little and I couldn't look after him. So,
Yeah.
but no, there's been plenty of shit show moments in my life, love. Like, let me
Yeah.
tell you, let
Yeah.
me tell you.
I know, it's almost like those shit show moments just give us, you know, so much character. I remember being in Paris, and we had my 10-year-old, but she was a baby, and we were already exhausted and tired. I didn't know how to like. She was like a new baby. She wasn't new, but she's like maybe 5 months old. And I was like, we must keep traveling. Like, we must not lose that part of ourselves. I should never have traveled when she was 5 months old. She shit up her back like the bathtub, but in the French restaurant, and they kicked us out.
No.
Which they probably should have. Like, why did I think I should have been in, like, you know, a restaurant, especially in Paris? They were like, no, you need to leave. No. And I was like, oh, I'll just change the baby. Like, no, you need to go. It's so smelly and sticky. I don't know. That's not a great accent. But I was just like, at that moment, I was like, I'm done. I don't even know if I can be a parent. You know, this is awful. But it defines us, you know. No, it doesn't define us. It defines our character.
Yeah.
So. And then the last thing I'm going to do is, because I've got an American accent, Australian accent, a little bit all over the place, can you give me 2 of your favorite Aussie slang words?
Oh,
and tell me
God,
why.
That's what we do, isn't it? Like,
tell me why, and then newer the better for me. I'd like to like be confused by them.
well, we just, as a nation, we're like, we're going to go to the servo and we'll pick up Timo, and then we'll get some Talios, and then we'll go to the, like, it's just everything's an O on the end.
Or like a brekkie with like a kinky, yeah.
My husband, like, he has moments where I'm like, God, you're Aussie. Like, I never thought I'd marry an Australian man, because I think I spent so long in England for 14 years. I do love British men. I've always loved British men.
Yeah.
And even the scale of like the gentrified to the geezer. Like, I've just, there's
yeah.
never been a particular, like, I just
like all of them.
Yeah.
Whatever
give
goes.
them all.
Yeah.
But Cam would be like, oh, you little ripper. Like,
Yeah.
you had like ripper. Like,
Ripper.
yeah, that
Got
just
that
means
one.
like it's great. So he uses that quite a bit.
The 2 that I was confused of recently was budgie smuggler, which is like a
Oh,
speedo.
yes.
That's a new one. And old mate. That was one that I was.
Old mate.
I was like, what do you call it? Like, hey, it's my old mate. I'm like, is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing, a good connotation, or kind of?
It depends how you say it. Like, old mate over there.
So it's such a facial expression.
Yes. Yeah,
Old
it's gotta go
mate, or
with
it's like,
it.
oh, my old mate. Yeah.
Yeah, old mate, geezer. Yeah.
So
but
I
also
guess-
being in England, like the thongs and flip flops,
Yeah.
because thongs is
Bins and trash.
bins and trash.
And then there's so many. I mean,
So
gas.
many.
Do you use gas in or petrol in UK?
Petrol.
He's petrol.
Yeah.
When I say gas, oh my god, you would
You
have
got the
thought
windy pops.
you would have thought I killed someone. They were just like, gas. What? And I'm like, it's gonna be okay. The world's gonna keep spinning. I know it's petrol, and I'm here. Although I said to someone like, put it in the bin. They're like, sorry, put it in the trash. They're like, the trash? I was like, the bin, mate. The bin, mate. You old geezer. Well, thank you so much for coming, Jules.
you for
and
having
we
me.
adore you. And welcome to the shit show, guys. And this podcast was not a shit show.